Hey everyone, my name is Sam and thanks for checking out this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and give the video a thumbs up, as well as turn the little notification sign on. And I want to get started. I'm so excited to do this video. As the overwhelming majority of you probably know, June is Pride Month. Yay! And I mean, I'm very thankful to live in a first world country where everyone is, even legally, everyone is to be themselves and no one can be discriminated upon based on their race or sexual orientation. But, I mean, as much as we say that, we know that people still do. So I feel like it's very important to dedicate this month to that, whilst, the world can finally catch up and get its crap together about treating people like people, just like equally across the board based on like who they are as human beings, of like, you're a good person, then you're a good person. As an ally, I just want to make sure though, that doesn't mean you get to like stop pretending to care the other months of the year. It should be something always on your mind and consciousness. And when it comes to books, I feel like you should always be reading good books. Well, books with good LGBT representation. I think it is time to dedicate a video to books with good representation that fall under this wonderful LGBTQ plus umbrella. Now, I know there are a ton more books out there that I'm not going to mention that have good representation. I just honestly don't want to recommend a book that I myself haven't read. And, there's tons of lists dedicated to, books with good LGBT representation on Goodreads and that kind of such. But these are the books that I have read, and I really want to make sure that if you're looking to diversify your reading, year round, but also, maybe focusing in June on that sort of representation, then there are some books that I want to give you to suggest taking a look at. The first book is Dreamland Burning by Jennifer Latham. This actually follows our main character, who is herself. There's no discussion on her sexuality. However, her best friend is asexual, and it talks about, very kind of just passingly though, about the fact that his father kind of just hasn't dealt with it, but it's just very interesting and does come into play of like, and they're just like, he's asexual and he's normal and like, he's just a regular character in this book and there's nothing wrong with him and he's a wonderful human being and he really, really does support our main character emotionally through all the weird things that go on in this book. There is also the Loom Saga series, the first one being Alchemist of Loom by Elise Kova. Our main character is a female who comes out at the very beginning, really. She is bisexual. Her female partner of the past has passed away, and she does continue on in this book and eventually has a relationship with a male dragon, which sounds very weird, but her past relationship with her partner constantly comes up. Now, it is later on it comes out. It doesn't specify, like there's no label put on it, but one of the other characters who is female begins a relationship with another female character. So it doesn't specify whether it is lesbian or bisexual, but there is that one as well. This is a pretty well-known one, but I just want to make sure everyone knows that they should read this series. But ACOTAR, there's nothing in ACOTAR, however, that A Court of Wings and Ruin, the third book, one of the main characters, like the supporting characters, who honestly everyone seems to be like in love with, comes out as lesbian, and the fact that she's been dealing with trying to hide it and suppressing it, really love this book too. So another book that honestly I feel like doesn't get talked an awful lot about is That Inevitable Victorian Thing by E.K. Johnston. This actually follows our main character in this world where they have like computers that they like kind of scan your DNA and then put it into this computer and find like your perfect match. However, our main character does that. She acknowledges herself as a woman and then she runs her DNA and then it comes back saying that she's a man. And so, she's got both of the genes. So it's really, really interesting, and there's just like so much in this book. I really highly recommend it for Pride Month especially. Another pretty well-known one is the Mortal Instrument series. One of our main characters, Alec, is in a relationship. He is a shadow hunter. However, Alec goes like against the patriarchy or against the government or like societal setup and starts a relationship with a male warlock named Magnus, and we all love Malik and they're awesome. They're honestly the only reason I watched the Shadowhunter show too. So I mean, just love them. I feel like this is also a pretty well-known book, but I don't think it gets the attention for this specific topic. But The Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo actually has one of the main characters in like the troupe group that do like the heist. He is gay with one of the other characters in this, and everyone loves them so much, and they're so adorable. Now, she's an instant buy author for me, so I'm just going to put both of her books. So, The Accident Season, as well as Spellbook of the Lost and Found by Moira Fowley Doyle. This one has lesbian and bisexual representation within the main characters, and The Accident Season has lesbian representation. I love both of these books. They're set in like very like darky, contemporary, like Ireland-y, with some weird magical realism, but her writing's amazing, and the covers are really, really cool too, and I would highly recommend these books. a pretty massive recent release, Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. Side note, she is coming into the TBR Beyond book group to do a live author talk in June. I'm so excited. Her and another author. So I've actually read this book though. I got my hands on an ARC last year and adored it. Our main character is bisexual, and it begins with her in her relationship with our main male. However, he passes away pretty quickly on, and then her relationship blossoms with another woman, and I don't want to say any more because then it's kind of spoilery. But it's actually own voices as well, so that's why we're really, really excited that the TBR Beyond book group is doing that. So I'm going to link the TBR Beyond book group in the credits kind of below as always. So definitely feel free to drop by the group for that because I'm so excited about this. I love the book anyways, but there's necromancy and people being brought back to the dead and the Deadlands and oh, it's so good. Recently optioned off to have a film adaptation, which I want to be excited for. However, adaptations have very, very hardcore been letting me down recently. But A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. It follows our main character, Monty, who was going on his royal tour, which is normally what gentlemen at the, in the 1700s or whatever, would travel around Europe, once they've kind of hit the age of majority, and then they kind of come back and settle down and take over the business and marry and all that stuff. But it follows our main character who's been, his father's been told him very sternly of, if you do something on this trip, you're done, you're cut off, I've had enough of this. He gets into trouble an awful lot. But he's also in love with his best friend who comes on this trip, and things develop. So, gay representation. And his sister actually, there was a lot of we don't know what's going on. It's never specifically said in this book, but Monty's sister was presumed to be asexual based on things that she had kind of hinted at in this book. And the sequel, A Guide to Petticoats and Piracy, I think it is his sister, and it has been confirmed by Mackenzie Lee since that she is also asexual. So keep an eye out for that book. I very, very recently read this, but Ivy Aberdeen's Letter to the World by Ashley Herring Blake. I absolutely love this. This is a middle grade book where a main character is lesbian, as well as she has a lot of supporting characters, I think at least 2, that are out lesbians, and they give her some support as to figuring out exactly where she is and how she fits in, and if she wants to label herself and, what they went through. And I know Ashley Herring Blake, this is the first book I've read by her, but she also wrote a book that's coming out, I think in the next month or so, called Girls Made of Stars. I'll put the cover right there. But it deals with a rape accusation, but one of the main characters is also lesbian, I believe. So there's rep in both of these books by that author. And last but not least is Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. I know for a fact, I remember this vividly, that there is bisexual representation by one of the main characters in here. However, someone told me that there's also asexual representation. I can't remember where it was. So that's a fairly limited list of the books that are out there. However, those are pretty well known, or YA books that I've read in the last year or so and thoroughly enjoyed and would recommend because they've got some awesome representation in them. And like I said, make sure to always try and diversify your reading year-round, not just in June, but make sure in June to take special note of. Make sure to check the description box down below. I am linking all of those books to their Goodreads pages, as well as links to my social media. If you follow me, I will happily follow you